grocery challenge today. The goal, spend 50 bucks and try and eat like a human being for a week. And spoiler alert, it's literally impossible. But hey, let's pretend we live in a world where basic nutrition isn't a luxury item reserved for people making six figures. I've got my list, I've got my calculator, I've got the crushing weight of economic reality. Let's see just how fast this goes off the rails. What's good, PricedOut community? Today we're talking about something that affects literally everyone watching this, groceries. Because somewhere between inflation is transitory and supply chain issues, buying food became like shopping for luxury goods. I'm talking about a world where a single bell pepper costs more than minimum wage workers make in 20 minutes, where eggs are priced like they're made of gold, where milk costs more than someone's hourly wage. But sure, tell me more about how we're just bad at budgeting. Look, this isn't about being dramatic. This is about the fact that food, literal human survival fuel, has become so expensive that college students are fainting in class and young adults are choosing between rent and eating. So let's break down the math of trying to survive on grocery store prices in 2025. Fair warning, you might want tissues nearby. Okay, here's the challenge. $50, 7 days of food. Let's see what we can get. A dozen eggs, $4.99. Okay, it's a good starting position with protein level costs. Gallon of milk, $5.49 for milk from a cow. Nothing fancy, not grass fed, just standard milk. That's $10.50 already I have. Liquid calories and unfertilized chicken embryos. Loaf of bread, $3.89. Remember when bread was like $1? Pepperidge Farm members, and apparently charges accordingly. One bell pepper, $2.99. A single pepper for $3. I think I could get a McChicken for less than a pepper. Let's just let that sink in. The dystopia is when McDonald's becomes more affordable than vegetables. Ground beef, $8.99 a pound for the cheap stuff. The kind that's probably 30% mystery ingredients. Okay, so if I want to make spaghetti and meatballs, basically the cheapest meal known to humanity, I need ground beef, $9, pasta, $2.50, sauce, $3, and maybe an onion, $1.50. That's $16 for one meal. That serves maybe 4 portions. But wait, let's talk about shrinkflation, because not only are prices insane, portions are getting smaller. Cereal boxes used to be 18 ounces, now 14 ounces. Same price, less food. Chip bags are basically 60% air. Ice cream containers that need a magnifying glass to find the actual ice cream. It's like a magic trick, but instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, they're pulling money out of your wallet while giving you less food. So with my $50, let's see what I actually managed to get. Eggs, milk, bread, one pepper, ground beef, pasta and sauce, onion, rice, beans, and I'm at $47. That's 4 meals worth of ingredients. Maybe 5 if I get really creative with rice and sadness. But hey, at least I can afford to eat every other day. Living the dream, right? Okay, but let's get real about what this actually means for people our age. I have friends who are literally skipping meals. Not because they're trying to lose weight or intermittent fasting or whatever, but because they can't afford to eat every day. Sarah, 24, works full-time at a marketing agency, makes $45,000 a year. After rent, student loans, and basic expenses, she has maybe $200 a month for food. That's about $667 a day for meals, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and any snacks. A single Starbucks drink can cost more than her daily food budget. My friend Drake started going to food banks, not because he's unemployed or on social assistance, but because he has a college degree and a full-time job that doesn't pay enough for both rent and food. Food banks are seeing record numbers of working professionals, teachers, nurses, retail workers, people with jobs that society considers essential can't afford essentials. When did we normalize people with full-time jobs needing charity to eat? I know people who move back in with their parents, not because they want to, but because it's the only way they can afford to eat regularly. And you know what the response is? Just meal prep. Cook at home, stop eating out. We're not eating out. We're eating ramen for the third time this week because it's 50 cents a meal. College students are passing out in class because they're choosing textbooks over lunch. Young professionals having panic attacks in grocery stores because their card got declined for basic food. This isn't normal. This is a humanitarian crisis disguised disguised as economic inconvenience. And it's not just about being hungry, it's about the mental toll. You know what it's like to stand in a grocery store calculating whether you can afford to eat peanut butter and jelly? To put back items because your budget can't even handle an extra $3? It's humiliating. It's exhausting. It's this constant background stress of can I afford to eat today? Food should not be a luxury item. So, how do we get here? Because grocery prices didn't just randomly decide to double. Corporate consolidation. Five companies control most of the food supply. No competition, no reason to keep prices reasonable. Loblaws made $2 billion in profit last year. While people are choosing between rent and groceries, they're literally making record profits. Weird how their costs went up, but profits also went up. Math is wild like that. Supply chain issues. Right. Supply chain issues that somehow only affect consumer prices, not corporate margins. It's amazing how inflation hits grocery bills, but not executive bonuses. And the government response? Price controls, windfall taxes, meaningful regulation? Nah, just thoughts and prayers meant, and maybe a committee to study the problem. But here's what really gets me, the health implications. When healthy food is expensive and processed food is cheap, guess what happens? People get sick. Diabetes, heart disease, malnutrition. We're creating a generation of people who can't afford to be healthy, and then we'll blame them for having health problems. Why don't poor people just eat salads? Maybe because a bag of salad costs $7 and a box of mac and cheese costs $1.50. This isn't about groceries, it's about class warfare disguised as market forces. When basic needs become luxury items, you don't have capitalism, you have feudalism with extra steps. Alright, so we've established that buying food in 2025 is basically self-harm. So what now? If this video made you feel seen in your grocery store trauma, hit that like button. Share it with someone who's also living on ramen and prayers. I want to hear your grocery horror stories in the comments. What's the most absurd grocery price you've seen? The receipt that broke your brain. The moment you realize food has become a luxury item. Subscribe if you want more content exposing how basic human needs have become premium experiences. We're building a community of people who refuse to pretend this is normal. And more importantly, don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking this is your fault. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.